model. It's kind of like that whole, hey, look what I could be driving.
Why don't you just spend a little extra? Are we going?
We'll find out.
Hello there, and welcome to Real Reviews. My name, as it always is Jamison Rabbit, and today I'm joined by a man who has a pet kitty cat named Belky Bartakamus, and his name is Mike Roth.
He was a perfect stranger at first, but you know, we got along.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Mike?
I'm allergic to cats, so it makes Belky feel a little sad every once in a while. But
Don't be ridiculous.
What can you do?
Don't be ridiculous.
No, don't be ridiculous.
This week, we have
Whatever happened to that guy?
to Bronson Pinchot.
Yeah.
I don't know. He did some Beverly Hills Cop movies and then kind of faded away for a little bit. I'm sure he's living happily somewhere in Mypos with his family.
I was able to follow Yakov Smirnov's career.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who didn't?
Yeah.
Storied career down in Bronson, Missouri. Yeah, Branson, Missouri.
Oh, he's done now. He
Yes.
retired this year.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flags are flying half staff
all
for that
the
guy.
people who started jumping into the car after you heard that, sorry, his last show was a couple months ago.
Oh, man. All right. We have got some diverse movies to talk about this week.
Yes, we do.
Now, no two movies are similar this week. Very different. And I'm going to start off with a movie called The Infiltrator.
That's a good one to start off.
All right, well, good, because that's what we're going with. From director Brad Furman, The Infiltrator, the newest movie starring Bryan Cranston, retelling the true life story of Robert Mazur, who was an undercover agent who was in the mid-'80s, South Florida during the drug wars. Bob Mazur was a guy who would go deep undercover to infiltrate different things. His partner, Amir Abreu, played by John Leguizamo, is the guy who, he's kind of a wild card in the department. Bob likes to work solo so that he controls all the variables. And his new partner is a bit of a wild card, but it's his only connection to infiltrate into Pablo Escobar's organization.
They are completely different people.
Right. And you think oil and water, this is not going to work. And it's a movie that really relies heavily on the acting talents of Bryan Cranston and the ability to build tension, because it is a very dramatic movie. There's punctuations of action in the movie, but it's very dramatic and character-driven as he is trying to work his way through the levels. And like most of these movies about somebody who's going undercover, it's a lot of who can be trusted. How far are you willing to go to get what you want? Can you retain your morals and do what you need to do in this job? How deep can you go? And that's kind of the gist of this movie, as he makes his way through to make the big takedown and try and stop the flow of cocaine and other things into Florida in the mid-1980s. Yeah. And like I say, it's mostly them. Benjamin Bratt is in it as a trusted confidant that is in the organization there. And
with the beard, I kept on thinking who is Lou Diamond Phillips, but that's me.
No. You have Juliet Aubrey that plays Bob Mazur's wife. Olympia Dukakis is in this movie as his aunt, and she's a lot of fun. She kind of comes in and steals a couple of moments.
Diane Kruger as his FBI wife because of a little slip up he had earlier.
Yeah, so he now has to have a fiance. I thought she was really good.
I thought all the acting was really good. That is what carried most of this movie to the heights it did. Bryan Cranston was phenomenal. He could actually play the audience really well, where you were questioning, is he really a mean guy? Because when he's in his role, you could feel it like, oh, this guy could be a really bad guy. But then he's the family man at the same time, where all of a sudden it's nice Bryan Cranston. I don't know.
And Brad Furman did a great job of really straddling that line of gray territory with the character, because there's a great transformation scene kind of in this movie where he kind of gets caught off guard in a restaurant. Yeah. And suddenly he has to really transform into the monster that the guys in the organization think that he is. Yeah. And he goes over the top with it. And it's a little crazy. And it's a great moment. And they start to play up like, how far is he willing to go with this? Because a lot of these movies you see, like, and then they started to live the life as they were undercover and maybe didn't want to come back out of undercover.
Yeah,
and that happens a lot in these movies.
Like that Amir. He does the job, and Bryan Cranston asks him, I'll call him Bob. Bob asks him, why do you do this? This is a terrible job. And Amir is like, I love it. He gets to go to parties and hang out with bad guys. That he loves his job, which is makes them actually two opposite people. Bob's doing it because it's his job. Amir's doing it because it's his lifestyle.
Likes the life, and the movie shows how lucrative the drug wars were for both sides. It's lucrative for the bad guys that are smuggling in coke. It's lucrative for the cops and for the government because they get to have this war on drugs. It's lucrative for the bankers that are playing both sides. It's lucrative for everyone.
And I loved how they threw that in too. You don't see the banker side of it, but when this bust was performed, there's over 100 drug dealers and bankers that got thrown, which is better than what, I mean, bankers had it worse off in the 80s than they do now.
It was pretty interesting. There were some moments in this movie that got some audible gasps out of me. There was a couple of moments that I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but there was a couple of them where I'm like, oh no, like everything's about to fall apart because he is playing this very dangerous, very deadly game. And as they reiterate over and over, one slip up and you're all dead, and so is your family and everyone that you know. And they hit this hard a few times. And it's true. I mean, this is no joke. This is what Pablo Escobar was known for. Was killing hundreds and hundreds of people that got in his way. Not just killing. You just didn't die. You tortured. He made a story out of you to tell other people. He used fear as a tool and intimidation, and nobody wants to have that happen to them, so he used that. And I thought it was really good. I thought there was a really nice buildup of tension in this movie. One of the complaints I did have about this movie, the cinematography I thought was a little poor, and attention to detail. This movie, a lot of the retro movies where they're going back to the 80s or 70s or something like that, I expect to see grand. I want to feel like I'm in that time era. A lot of the props to me felt like they were manufactured for the movie. And things felt grainy and out of focus at times. Maybe that was the director's point, but to me it kind of felt like he was trying to recapture the visual styles of that era. Yeah, and thankfully we have better technology now where you really don't have to do that. If you're going to do that visual style, make me feel wholeheartedly that this is an 80s film. Otherwise, try and modernize it a little bit. I didn't appreciate some of the contrast problems and the grainy problems. My only two issues with this movie were, despite raving about how the actors were great, there was one actor that stood out as really bad to me, and that was Amy Ryan as the chief, as lieutenant or whatever she was. Yeah. She was really bad. She was really weak in this movie. She's a good actress. Yeah. And I thought she was just playing a character. While everyone else was really inhabiting their roles, she was playing the character of the brassy boss. Yeah. And you needed to bring something else to the set. My other big issue is there are a couple of moments in this movie, especially early on in the movie, where you see Bob and you see his partner Amir, and they're meeting their connections for the first time to start getting into this world with the Colombians. And there are in-depth conversations going on, all in Spanish, between all these guys. And you can tell that there's a lot of story building is going on here, because this is our first moment of, is he going to be accepted or not? And it is all in Spanish, and I'm watching it and I'm going, throw me some subtitles. Yeah. Throw some subtitles in it, because it wasn't just like a couple of lines. I know just enough Spanish to get along, to pick out enough words to get along. Yeah. But when it's a 5-minute scene of nothing but Spanish with those subtitles, and it's obviously a pivotal moment in the movie, help a brother out and give me some subtitles. I want to know what's being said right now. I think at that point they were hoping that the acting would convey the message without the words, but really, you're right, it didn't really hold up to that. I mean, yeah, it's great that it felt, okay, it's authentic, and Bob's sitting there, and these guys are speaking Spanish around him, and who knows how much he understands, but I'd like to understand because I'm watching the movie. Another little complaint I had was the chemistry. At the end of the movie, there was supposed to be an extremely strong bond that was between Robert Mazur and Roberto. And
when it got to the end, it was like, oh, they're really that close, and I don't know. I didn't feel it in the movie. I think maybe that relationship should have been built a little bit more.
Yeah. Ultimately, what did you give The Infiltrator?
You know, this is mostly because of the acting, and I did like the story. I gave it a 4-star. I really enjoyed the movie. The cinematography, I had problems with. I don't think it was grand by any means, but it is a good movie.
Sure. I really enjoyed this. I give it 4.5 stars.
Wow.
Despite my couple of little complaints, I thought it was a really tremendous movie, and I thought it built up the tension and represented that time very well. And so I highly recommend going and check it out, The Infiltrator.
Excellent.
Yeah. So what's the next movie we have here on the marquee, sir?
Is it this one?
It sure is.
All right, Secret Life of Pets.
Yeah.
This is the new cartoon that just came out. It is packed in the theaters, by the way. Louis C.K. plays Max, a little a terrier dog, and his wife, his owner Katie, picks him up, and they're the best friends ever. Dog and the master, just yay! But Katie ends up bringing another dog, ruining their close bond by bringing in a third wheel. This big shaggy dog, at first, he tries to get along, tries to be Max's buddy, but Max is not going to have it. He doesn't like strangers. It's just him and Katie, and eventually they become the odd couple. The big shaggy dog and Duke and Max, they don't get along, and they fight, and eventually it becomes a problem of revenge, and they get lost out in Manhattan Island. As they're running around trying to get back to the apartment so they could get back to Katie, we also have a semi-love interest, a small dog named Gidget, a white Pomeranian, I believe it is.
Yep.
She's in love with Max. Max doesn't care. But,
right.
But Gidget has to go out and find Max and bring him home with the help of a flesh-eating hawk that she finds on top of an apartment building, Tiberius. A lot of this movie is supposed to be like the inside of animals' heads. What causes them
What
to
do they
do
do when you're not looking?
things.
It's like Toy Story.
It's a lot like Toy Story in that aspect of what they were trying to do with the film. We also have Chris Rock. Not Chris Rock.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart playing Snowball, which is a typical cute bunny rabbit who screams all the time, and he's really violent, and he has a bunch of thug animals. They're called the Flushed Pets that are acting on revenge, and they want to get back at Max because of the death of their favorite viper snake.
Sure. You bet.
What do you think of it?
I think you explained it really well. I think the voice cast was a lot of fun.
Okay.
I loved Kevin Hart as Snowball. I thought he was great. I thought it was a perfect choice. Eric Stone Street as Duke. Louis C.K.'s Max. I think they were a lot of fun. I liked a lot of things about this movie. I liked the human-hating ex-pets. I liked the design of a lot of the characters. I liked the design of them. They were kind of creepy. They were kind of freaky looking.
I really...
That hairless cat with the holes in his ears, man. That's rough.
The Sphinx cat?
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that at all.
I think its name was Ozone.
Yeah. I like those. Look, this movie, being so close to Finding Dory, this movie had a lot of similarities in storyline to Finding Dory. I'm lost in the city. I'm with somebody that I don't really like that much. We have to work together, I guess, to get home. We both have separate agendas on our plates, and we have people out looking for us. Eventually, we might end up in a van with one of us locked up. I mean, it's very similar to Finding Dory. But I like this a little bit more than Finding Dory. I wasn't a huge fan of Finding Dory. I think I gave it 3 stars when you guys reviewed it.
Yeah.
I thought this one had a little bit more. Look, I think it lacked the emotional punch that it could have really done. There's a moment when Duke goes back home and sees home for the first time. I think that lacked the emotional punch that should have been there.
Yeah.
I think there was some letdowns here and there, but I think as a whole, fun aspect, I had more fun with this movie than I have some of the more recent ones.
I'm kind of the exact opposite on that. I think Snowball, the cute bunny that was really violent, I really got annoyed with its constant screaming all the time. He was just so angry all the time. And I just couldn't get into it. I didn't really like the setting either. It's Manhattan and stuff, but it was like Oliver and Company. It's like one of those forgotten Disney
Here's a
films.
movie I haven't seen in a while.
Because it just didn't visually pop like a lot of these computer animated movies do. I found myself wanting more. I wanted this movie to be a little bit more clever. I wanted it to be more creative. I felt like it was taking a lot of its material from old Looney Tunes, throwing in Dana Carvey, which really, he's like one of those things I was happy in the 90s with him, but I'm glad he didn't.
Dana Carvey's got to get work too. Come on.
And he's doing his
anybody should be doing voice work, it should be Dana Carvey.
Oh, boy. Well, he shouldn't be doing the grumpy old man anymore. And
that's true. I'll give you that.
They had 2 jokes that ran twice. This is actually a twofer. You get a Minions short in the beginning.
Because this is from Illumination Studios, the guys who made Despicable Me.
And they are beating the Despicable
because that
Me
is their
to the horse.
thing. That's the only thing driving Illumination Studios is the Despicable Me franchise. And and that franchise is not known for its really creative writing.
No, it's not. But when you first saw the first trailers for Secret Life of Pets, I was thinking this is going to be really cool. This is going to be creative. I lost somewhat interest with the introduction of Snowball. You know, the cute, fuzzy, violent animal, which has been
Big
done.
white fangs.
It's been done since Monty Python, and it's been done over and over again since then. I just kind of, I don't know. I thought it was just average.
Just huh?
Yeah.
So I like I say, I liked it a little more than I have some of the previous ones. I gave it 3.5 stars. I had fun with it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the voice work for the majority of the cast. So
Yeah.
What did you end up giving it?
I gave it 2.5.
That's a must score.
It's a very must score. I think I chuckled 2 times. Once when a chihuahua wet itself.
Sure. Oh, always a classic.
I rolled my eyes with the poo-poo caca jokes.
Sure.
But, I mean, whatever. I think kids might like it. Adults
It's doing
might
huge
just...
business in the box office. So don't cry for Pets because it is making money hand over fist at the moment.
They're actually shucking out money to everyone else, too, because I had been watching these parents bring in kids, and they're like, kids are devastated that they can't get in if they didn't pre-order the tickets.
Yeah.
So what do? They go see Finding Dory and all the other movies that are playing right now.
Why not?
I saw Kids in the Infiltrator. That shouldn't have happened.
That's not okay. Don't bring your kids to the Infiltrator. Next movie we have on the marquee this week is a movie called Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, right?
Correct.
Mike and Dave, they need wedding dates. This is from director Jake Samaski. We have Zac Efron as Dave. We have Adam Devine as Mike. And they are the Stengel brothers. And this is based on a true story. The Stengel brothers actually existed. They did. The Stengel brothers, this story actually existed.
You are kidding.
No, 100% positive. 100%. They put out this ad on Craigslist looking for dates for their sister's wedding. It's a hilarious ad. The Stengel brothers really existed.
Oh, I'm floored.
Yeah. And they put out this ad. The Stengel brothers ruin everything. They ruin every party they're at. And their dad, hilariously played by Stephen Root, tells them, you're not going to keep messing around. It's your sister's wedding. Your sister played by Sugar Lynn Beard. It's her wedding. You're going to get dates, and they're going to keep you in line.
I love how that was like what is it when you have a drug problem and all the family?
Yeah, it was an intervention.
Intervention. It was an intervention.
We need to talk.
And they're going through these flashbacks of the parties and
as they see it.
as Dave and Mike as they see it, and they're the life of the party, and they're dancing. There's fireworks all over the place, and then right after the intervention, then they show the last half of their memory.
Remember when you lit Grandma on fire? Remember when this
remember
happened?
Grandpa died? You can't blame us for Grandpa's death.
He was old anyways. And it's a movie that is them hilariously trying to find these dates. They have these 2 girls who aren't necessarily nice girls. They're a couple of con artists played by Anna Kendrick and Aubrey Plaza. And they decide, we are going to class it up and we are going to get these free dates to Hawaii for this wedding. And they do. They go to Hawaii. And the party guys they meet their matches.
Oh.
In these con artist girls.
Yeah.
Who, the con falls apart pretty quickly and they're not shy about it. Like, no, we conned you.
Yep.
And do something about it. And there's a lot of fun in this movie. It's full of comedic cameos, full of comedians. There's a great scene in here. I like to call it the Coming to America dating scene, as they're trying to find dates, and they're sitting in the bar, and it's very much like the scene in Coming to America, as crazy after crazy comes in to meet them. They're like, oh no. And And it's a fun movie. I like the chemistry between Zac Efron and Adam Devine. I think it was fun. They play idiots really well.
I giggle almost every time Adam Devine screams.
Yeah.
He's got that really high-pitch scream. I think Anna Kendrick did a really fantastic job, too. Aubrey Plaza was a lot.
Here's the thing. Aubrey Plaza, I really, really enjoy. I like her a lot. But she is not doing it on the big screen recently.
No.
I liked one of her early movies, Safety Not Guaranteed. Go check that movie out. That's a lot of fun. But her last couple with Dirty Grandpa and this, kind of playing the same character.
Yeah.
And
I think she upped up her game since Dirty.
Really fell flat for me. Hers stood out, especially against Anna Kendrick. And Anna Kendrick's character had some depth. She had some of her own issues that she was working through, being stood up at the altar. And Aubrey Plaza's character just felt one note to me.
I felt she tried too hard to be the bad girl.
Yeah.
She was dropping some really cliche type, ghetto slang and stuff like that. It's like, why do you have to do that? You're a good actress. You should be able to be bad on your own style.
Yeah.
But
there's some good laughs in here. I had some really, really good laughs in here, especially as the guys are they're being idiots and they're shocked at somebody else playing this game against them, basically.
Yeah. I would like to talk more about some of these scenes, but this feels like a rated R movie. Was it rated R?
Was, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There's one of my favorite comedians, Kumail Nanjiani, steals some scenes in this movie as the masseuse.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about that. You do it.
Kumail is a masseuse who is brought in to help Jeannie, the sister who's getting married, relieve some stress. She's been dealing with some things. Getting hit in the face by a four-wheeler is one of the things she's dealing with. Just the stress of the wedding. And he has some great scenes with her that are really hilarious. And he goes all out for it. Really fun. And I think just the whole cast all together. Like I said, I love Stephen Root. And he is great as the dad who is just flummoxed with these idiots.
I like the extra character that they put in, Cousin Terry. They really didn't have to put her in, but there was some kind of rivalry between Cousin Terry and Mike.
Yeah.
And I never figured out what it was, but it was hilarious how they were always trying to up each other. And obviously, Cousin Terry was the superior human being.
Right.
But for some reason, she got all flummoxed because Mike, I don't know. Why?
It's like she had fun messing with him or watching him get all crazy. Yeah, it's a fun movie. And I was actually kind of surprised by how much I enjoyed it. So what did you give Mike and Dave?
I gave Mike and Dave a 3. It seems pretty low for a good movie. This is a pretty childish movie, but it was a lot of fun. And I might end up quoting this thing. I might do it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I gave it 3 stars as well. I had a lot of fun with it.
Actually, I did quote it already.
No?
I was having troubles trying to find a word, so I just kind of mentioned how I use words without knowing the meaning.
It works.
It works.
Gets the job done. We have another movie that is in theaters right now that I just want to remind people to go and check out. It's been a long, slow release, but it's a movie that I reviewed earlier this year, and I just wanted to mention, go see it. Hunt for the Wilder People has been rolling into theaters more and more recently and has rolled into our town. Again, I reviewed it earlier this year from the Film Fest and gave it 5 stars. And I think it currently sits near the top of my movies for this year. So if you've seen all these, or maybe these don't float your boat, and you're looking for a really great, dark, underrated comedy, go find Hunt for the Wilder People. Just a little FYI.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So now you know.
Sweet. And knowledge is power.
Yeah. Also, let's take a look at a movie that maybe reminds us of one of the movies that we're talking about.
They actually mentioned it in this movie that we're
did,
going to
that's right.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
We nailed it. What are we talking about for our movie throwback?
Oh, we got Wedding Crashers. This is 2005, so over a decade ago. For all you people who think this is a new movie, it's over a decade ago. We have Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn playing two buddies that love to crash parties. They pretend they're someone else, they get into the parties, and they become the life of the parties. Matter of fact, this should have been their job.
All the score with chicks.
It's to score chicks, eat free food, and have a lot of fun. And these guys feel genuine at these weddings. They're not just sitting in the back. They are bonding with and it's hilarious. Owen Wilson, John Beckworth, he finds a love interest. They end up going out to Secretary Clary, played by Christopher Walken's cabin, and they can't get away. And it's a hilarious movie. If you have not seen it.
You know what? I hadn't watched this movie in a decade. And I rewatched it this week for the show, and I had forgotten exactly how funny this was. Like, I remember being like, yeah, it was a fun movie, but memory kind of like poo-pooed it. And I rewatched it, and I forgot how much I really enjoyed this movie, and really how sweet it was. I like Isla Fisher as the crazy kind of stalker girl, and I love Rachel McAdams in this movie. And there's a lot of really fun chemistry. A young Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Jane Seymour. There was bits of this movie that I actually totally forgot about.
To see Bradley Cooper playing kind of a bit role like that is just
early on, you know. And yeah, it is really fun. And this is one of the few things that I can handle Owen Wilson in. I think he and Vince Vaughn have a fun chemistry. I think Vince Vaughn has a fun chemistry with a lot of people, with Jon Favreau and different people. But
he could do it all on his own.
Yeah, this is a perfect role for him.
One of my favorite scenes is Vince Vaughn talking to a priest, thinking it's like like a doctor confidentiality.
Yeah.
It's like, no, no.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I recommend go check it out.
Yeah, this is something I'm still laughing out loud about. I've seen this movie many, many times, and I rewatch it this week, and people are listening to me, wondering what's wrong with me.
The classic Mike Roth laugh.
Yep.
I love it. Wedding Crashers. All right, let's take a look ahead at what is going to be coming out in the upcoming week. We have 3 movies that will be coming out. The first one is Ice Age Collision Course, the newest.
What's this?
I think 4?
4?
I want to say 4. 5?
I know it's more than 3.
Yeah. And it's another Ice Age movie. This time the Earth may get destroyed because it's on a collision course. It's in the title, Mike.
Yeah.
There's an asteroid coming. Just watch out, Scrat or whatever his name is, and his acorn.
I don't think the Ice Age lasted that long. Should have been done with the first movie, right? Nah,
Ice Age.
I'm not that dumb.
The movie's only been going on for 20 years. So you have that. You have the next movie we have coming out will be Lights Out, the new horror movie.
I'm looking forward to that.
Girl, every time the lights go out, she sees a monster. And then her little brother gets embroiled in this, and he starts to gain these weird mystical things.
Haven't looked into it, but I've seen a short that was a lot like this movie a year ago, and I think it might be kind of based off of that. But who knows? It looks, to me, horrifying.
I'm just not,
I love
I'm not
horror
interested
movies.
in this movie at all.
Spooky movies.
Don't be surprised if it's just Mike reviewing that movie, but we'll see. And the final movie we have that weekend will be Star Trek Beyond, the 3rd in the new Star Trek franchise.
Possibly the final, I believe.
We'll see. Directed by Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin? That's a basketball player. Justin Lin. Directed by Justin Lin. And one of the last movies from Mr. Chekhov.
Yeah.
Anton Yelkin is
I hear
one of
they're
his.
all ready for the reboot of Next Generation. So that's...
That would not
I'm
surprise
looking
me
forward to it.
at all. So those will be the movies that we have that weekend. Before we go, of course, we have to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters, The Palace here in Sun Prairie. Thank you for sponsoring the show, and thank you for letting us sit in your comfortable dream lounges for all of these movies that we talk about every week. We also want to recommend, if you want to find any more from us, you can do so on Facebook. We're always there. Just search Real Reviews TV. That'll get you there. Or on Twitter. I'm always on Twitter looking to talk to people. At Real Reviews TV will get you there. We have... if you want to find any of our previous episodes, go to ksun.tv. There are 18 episodes up there if you want to see.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
We have more than a weekend's worth of watching for you.
You bet, you bet. Or you can always find us if you just want to listen to us. Maybe you don't like looking at these mugs. You can always find us on the radio. Mike's holding up a little something there on 103.5 FM. Go to sunprairiemediacenter.com.
And they got
find the schedule.
Really awesome magnetic bumper stickers right at the desk if you come in.
Pretty great place.
Yeah.
Pretty great
you can probably
place.
grab one of those.
Yep, so find all that there. Next week, we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters, and we're going to be counting down a list of some remakes and what we thought of them. So, but that will all be coming up next week. But until that time, my name is Jamison.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.